first thing is to get the direction or challenge. Now, that is often given to us by on high. It could be something through a kind of policy deployment exercise or something like that, which lands in our team or a department as a challenge. And that can be quite daunting. It might be something that is 6 months out, 12 months out, possibly a bit further. Um, but the idea of the challenge is, in a Kata environment, is that's something which is a little bit daunting and a little bit kind of, the pathway to that is not necessarily certain. And in a complex environment, we don't really know how we're going to get there. Step two is more about grasping the current condition. And that's really, again, I felt that Toyota, that they were really strong at this. Partly because I think that in terms of educating their people, they felt it was really important that you had a really thorough understanding of your own processes before you started making suggested improvements. So grasping that current condition is again something which I think in traditional kind of problem solving and A3 thinking, I think sometimes that is skipped over. So I think it's really important to have a thorough grasp and understanding of the current condition. Step three is setting your first target condition. So in a month's time or 3 or 4 weeks time, where do we think we need to be as our first step towards meeting that challenge? So that's a time horizon is much shorter for a target condition. And that would be an intermediate step towards that overall challenge. Yeah, we don't get there in one go. And then step four is that we would run experiments to get there. Again, a series of those nested experiments moving towards that target condition. So if you think about the overall challenge being a magnet that draws us up that pathway, moving broadly in that direction, but occasionally just deviating a little bit.
Mm.
We, as the improver there, working our way forward on that, have a torch or a flashlight if you want to use the American term. Yeah. The thing about a flashlight is the beam has a certain range. Yeah, that range is what we currently know. Yeah. For us to be able to advance forward on that, we need to take a step. And if we're carrying a torch in our hand and we take that step, then that illuminates the next thing. So if you're going on a path through the forest, you might just see the next couple of meters or something like that to move into. So the torch is a really good analogy because that's our kind of current, um, certainty. And so over time, through PDCA cycles, we're expanding what is called our knowledge threshold. Yeah, by running these experiments and finding out what happens.